All right, beautiful, beautiful people. Welcome to another live stream. I am sending out some notifications simply because I do not trust that notification bell. Let's see. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right. How is everyone doing tonight? I hope you're all doing fantastic. I've got the jacket on for this stream because it's getting a little chilly here. In fact, it's supposed to be freezing temps. Freezing temps. I had to look and make sure my mic was on. I've done that many times. It's supposed to be freezing temps this weekend for me, so that's going to be interesting. Sanchez, what is up, dude? First in chat, how you doing, man? I missed you, Sanchez. I hope you're doing well. Already with the ghost emojis. Okay. Hey, we got your sign on, dude. We got your sign on. I'm trying to make sure I don't get in the way of it. All right, guys. We got an interesting one in store for you tonight. I know I always say that, but hopefully we've got an interesting one in store for you. We might end the stream a little bit early, but I doubt it. I think I'll be fine. I'll be here for the complete hour, but just a heads up. But anyway, tonight, guys, we're going to be talking about you might have your anxiety recovery backwards. What do you mean by that? I don't know. We're going to talk about it. You might have your anxiety recovery backwards. Me too, brother. I'm good. Love the sign, man. We love the sign around here. Look at that. Everything's reversed. I cannot get used to it. No matter how long I've been doing this, I cannot get used to the fact that everything's reversed. Look, it's Wonder Bro. Look, it's Donkey. Used to be Abraham Lincoln. Now it's Donkey. What a transition, dude. Like I said in last night's stream, I love the matching profile picture, man. Hello, Wonder Bro. What's up, M? Welcome. Welcome. The subject tonight, guys, you might have your anxiety recovery backwards. We're going to jump into what I mean by that, because that can be a kind of confusing statement to hear. We're going to jump into what I mean by that in just a second. Give everybody a chance to get in here. How are you guys doing tonight, though? What have you done today? Fill me in, dude. If you're here, say hello. Say hello. I'd love to hear from you. It's getting chillier and chillier by the day for me on my end. Yes, it was quite a transition. It was. It was an unpredictable transition. Maybe if you would have went to another president, I'd have been like, okay, I can. Maybe he just got tired of Lincoln, right? But from a U.S. president to the donkey from Shrek is quite the interesting choice. Working on the Halloween props, dude. It's that time, Sanchez. It's that time, man. I'm excited. Haunted house is done. I know you're just thriving. You're just thriving over there, dude. This is your time of the year. I know you're loving it. You're loving it. All right, guys. Let's see. I'm going to send out one more notification. Got the haunted house done? Nice, dude. See, we do have this screen right here. But I don't take advantage of the whole starting soon screen. I'd rather, like, spend the first half of the stream, a few minutes at least, just talking to you guys. Seeing what you guys are up to. All right, I'm going to give it one more minute, guys, then we'll go ahead and jump into the point of tonight's stream. One more minute. Be patient. We're getting there. Well, someone has to keep you on your toes, Wonder Bro, right? If you would have never told me, I would have never imagined that it was you. Not in a million years. I'm going to try something real quick before we get started. I'm going to do a little science tonight. I'm going to post on the community page that we are live and just see if that, like, makes a difference. Because I've had so many complaints recently about the notification bell. So we're going to try this. We're going to send out a community post. We are live. Come join us. And just kind of see. Just see if that makes a difference whatsoever. So glad still up 12:30 UK. I'm glad you're here, Em. All right, guys. I sent out that post. We'll see what happens with that. But let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and jump into it and get started. So tonight we're going to be talking about you might have your anxiety recovery backwards. You might have your anxiety recovery backwards. Now, Wonder Bro, what do you mean by that? You might have your anxiety recovery backwards. Are you telling me I've been doing it backwards this entire time, Wonder Bro? What's the deal? Let me explain. So, a lot of people, and let me get this music out of here too while I'm at it. We don't want to be fighting with that, trying to talk over that the whole time. A lot of people, when confronted with anxiety, intense symptoms, whether it be physical or mental or physical, the first thing they want to do, and I guarantee everyone in this chat right now can relate to this, the first thing you want to do when you come face to face with strong or intense anxiety symptoms, be it intrusive thoughts or physical symptoms, panic, whatever the situation is, the first thing that most people want to do is to, A, shut down, so they're not living like they should be. They're not getting up. They're not doing things. They're not being proactive. They're not being active. They're not being productive, right? They are shutting down. So the first thing people want to do when they encounter anxiety symptoms, physical or mental, or both, is they want to shut down. So they stop living, in a sense. They do the bare minimum, right? They do the bare minimum. Everyone in this chat can probably relate to this. Hopefully this is not you anymore, but at one point it probably was, and if it's still you now, the point of the stream is to make you aware of that. So the first thing people want to do is shut down with the physical behaviors, right? The second thing they want to do is try to solve it, try to figure it out. Try to come up with that solution. Try to come up with that problem solving mentally. So they've got it all backwards. They've got it all completely backwards. They're trying to do all of the mental work in order to get out of the situation that they're in with their anxiety, and they're doing none of the physical work. And the reason this is a huge problem when it comes to recovery, when it comes to teaching your amygdala, that little part of your brain responsible for anxiety, the reason that this is a huge problem if you've got it backwards like that is because you're doing the one thing that the brain is not going to learn by. And you're not doing the one thing that the brain is going to learn by. So you're doing all the mental stuff, the problem solving, the obsession. What do I do? Try to figure out that thought. Try to fight with that thought. Try to get that thought to go away. Try to fight with that symptom. You're doing all the mental work, which is the one thing that's not going to teach the brain. It's just going to stress the brain out. And you're doing none of the physical work, which is the positive behaviors, which is tomorrow when you wake up anxious, you get up and you go take that shower and you take the trash out, you have a productive day, you mow the lawn, you talk to your friends about football, you do whatever it is that you would normally do if you felt great, if you felt fine, right? So people got it backwards, man. They're trying to solve the anxiety on the mental front, which is just going to make the brain upset. It's just going to piss the amygdala off, right? They're trying to do all the mental work, which is to problem solve and fight and figure out, but they're doing none of the physical work, or they're just doing the bare minimum, right? There's so many people that have came through this channel, guys, that did not get where they wanted to be until they stopped trying to do the mental stuff and started doing the physical stuff. We got someone in the chat tonight, my boy Sanchez, who can vouch for me on that, right? I think he said at one point he switched his mentality. From trying to problem solve, and these are his words, all right? He switched his mentality to a simple fuck it. That was his accepting inner voice, right? So instead of trying to solve all of his physical symptoms or his mental symptoms, he switched all of that to just his accepting inner voice of fuck it. So when he was tempted to do the problem solving or anything like that, he just said fuck it instead. right? And he kept at that. So he stopped trying to do the mental stuff, right? He completely erased trying to do the mental stuff, and he started focusing on living, right? And now he's got like a company going, and he's getting ready for Halloween. He's doing all these things that he should be doing, right? He's doing all the things that he would be doing if he felt great. Now, this is the language that the brain speaks, and I'm just using Sanchez as an example, right? But people tend to get their recovery backwards, right? And that's the point we're going to keep coming back to tonight. People tend to get their recovery backwards because it's like, I want to do all the mental figuring out, but the brain doesn't speak that language. So they're not speaking the language of the brain. Now, what do you mean by that? What is the language of the brain? The language of the brain, specifically the part of your brain responsible for setting your anxiety levels, right? The language it speaks, the only language that it speaks, is physical behavior, right? So you can piss it off by trying to mentally solve your thoughts and feelings. You can piss it off and keep it stressed, and you will keep it stressed, right? Or you can come to the understanding and the realization that there's nothing to solve because I can't convince my brain that there's not a tiger using logic. That's not the language it speaks. I can only piss it off trying to use logic. We call that obsession, right? So again, it's all backwards. People are trying to do the mental solving, which is just pissing the brain completely off and keeping their nerves stressed. And they're not doing the physical behavior, right? Or maybe they are doing the physical behavior, but they're still pissing the brain off with the mental solving. So you see the point that I'm getting at. Everybody thinks this is mental work. Everybody that you encounter when it comes to anxiety, they all seem to think that it's mental work. And yes, you could argue and say that the accepting inner voice is mental work, right? But the accepting inner voice is really just you dropping the mental work and saying, you know what, it is what it is. You know what, fuck it. The accepting inner voice, you could argue and say, but Wonder Bro, that's mental work. Not really. The accepting inner voice is you getting rid of the mental work, the obsession and the figuring out and the problem solving. The accepting inner voice is you saying to yourself, right, there's no mental work to be done. I'm just pissing my brain off the more I try to do this mental work, right? So everybody has it backwards. There's no mental work to be done with anxiety recovery unless you count the accepting inner voice, but that's just you getting rid of the mental work. It's you saying, you know what, fuck it, it is what it is, and then you're focusing on positive behaviors while those thoughts and feelings are there. So people have it backwards. Recovery isn't a mental exercise. It's just you getting rid of the mental exercise and saying there's nothing to mentally solve. Drop that, because that's keeping the stress alive, right? And just focus on positive behaviors. That's the language that the brain speaks. You got to really think about it in a caveman way, guys. You got to think about it in a caveman way. Let me put it to you like this. If you could somehow convince the amygdala that there was no tiger, right? Like that irrational thought is not a real tiger, and you could somehow convince it with your logic. That would be as simple as you saying, hey, amygdala, that's an irrational thought I just had, and that won't happen because of reasons A, B, C, D, and then you try to explain to the amygdala why that won't happen, and then the amygdala says, okay, boss, you're right. But it doesn't work that way. It wants to see. It wants to see. The brain watches behaviors. It wants to see that there's no tiger. Because if you could just tell it that there's no tiger, then a lot of stupid people out there would get themselves killed, right? Well, what's an example of that? Oh, there's a bloodthirsty, dog in front of me with rabies, and I'm just going to tell my amygdala in that moment, hey, it's okay, bloodthirsty dog with rabies, no big deal, amygdala. And then the amygdala will say, okay, I'll just stop giving you anxiety. And then you wouldn't have the urge to flee. And then what would happen? That bloodthirsty dog with rabies would rip your throat out. Now, stupid people would get themselves killed if that's the way that you communicated with the amygdala. But it's not the way that you can communicate with the amygdala. And the reason it's not the way that you can communicate with the amygdala is because, again, it's very smart and it does a good job at what it does. And stupid people would get themselves killed if it worked that way. So it doesn't work that way. The only way that you can directly communicate with the amygdala is through positive behavior. You can communicate with the amygdala and piss it off with worry, but you can't tell it that bloodthirsty dog with rabies is not a real danger. It's not going to buy it, right? It wants to see that it's not a real danger, okay? So, again, behaviors is the language of the amygdala, right? It will start to buy that you're not in real danger if you show it that you're not in real danger. Now that requires two things, and you guys know I'm going to go for my two main keys now. That requires for you to A, stop trying to do the mental work. Just tell yourself accepting statements, whatever you want to tell yourself. There's nothing to solve or figure out. Adopt the accepting inner voice. It is what it is, or what my boy Sanchez in chat says, just fuck it to those thoughts and feelings, right? And live your life. So you're feeling triggered, but you get up and you have a full productive day anyway. You might have to make yourself do those things, but just remember, you're doing them so that you can prove to your brain that that tiger isn't real. It wants to see that the tiger isn't real. If you act like there's a tiger, then there must be, according to the brain. It doesn't know any better. If you act like there's not a tiger, then there must not be, and it'll slowly start to back off in time. Takes a little bit of time, right? So people have got it backwards, man. They've got it backwards. I want to try to problem solve my way out of this. I want to use my mental to think my way out of this. How far has that gotten you? Have any of you been successful with the tactic of trying to think your way out of anxiety? Have any of you been successful with that tactic? No, you haven't, or you wouldn't be here on the channel, right? You've managed to piss your nerves off. You've managed to piss your brain off, right? By trying to mentally solve it, but that's all you can manage. It's not going to listen to your logic. You're just going to piss it off with your logic, keep your nerves stressed, right? So you gotta flip-flop this on its head. You gotta completely flip-flop what you think recovery is on its head. Recovery is not a mental act. It is a physical act. That's the language of the brain. So drop the mental stuff, the trying to problem solve, the arguing, the fighting, the obsessing. That's just pissing the nerves off. You got to drop all the mental stuff. Replace that with just the accepting inner voice. And then you got to get up and have full productive days, right? You can go at your own pace. You don't have to be perfect. But do you see how we have to completely flip-flop everything that you thought recovery ever was, right? And if you've been on here on the channel for a while, hopefully you didn't think that. But if you're new here, this definitely applies to you. And maybe you're a veteran here. This still applies to you, right? You might go back to these old bad habits sometimes and think, oh, yeah, this is something I need to mentally solve. It's not. You've got to completely flip-flop that perspective that recovery is somehow a mental act. It's a physical act, right? So if you're keeping your nerves tired by trying to mentally solve and fight and argue, you got to drop that. You got to remember, my brain is not going to listen to my logic. I'm just going to piss it off, right? So adopt that accepting inner voice and then speak the language. Start speaking the language that the brain does speak, which is behavior. Act like there's not a tiger, and it'll slowly get the message, right? You're carrying yourself a new way. You're speaking up. You're joining conversations. You're talking to people about things other than anxiety. You're smiling more often. You're being productive. You're keeping the house up. You're keeping the yard up. You're having productive days. You can go at your own pace. If you're extremely sensitized and all you did today was get up and took a shower, congrats. If all you did today was get up and brush your teeth, congrats, okay? Work on the mental dropping of things, okay? And have those positive behaviors, because there does, and this is kind of a side point, but there are some people out there who do the positive behaviors, right? At least that's what they say, but then they're still struggling. Why? Because you're still trying to do the mental stuff. You're still trying to do the figuring out, the solving, the fighting. We've got two keys for a reason. So if you're doing the positive behaviors, congrats, you're speaking the language of the brain. That's the point of tonight's stream. But if you're still trying to do the mental stuff too, the problem solving, fighting, and arguing, basically what you're doing is you're taking a foot into the door of acceptance, and then you're taking it right back out. That's all you're going to accomplish, because you're keeping the nerves stressed with that mental problem solving, right? You're keeping the nerves stressed with that mental problem solving. So you got to understand that if you are doing the positive behaviors, you are speaking the language of the brain, and that's great. But the mental stuff still has to be dropped too. That has to be replaced with the accepting inner voice, or else you're just going to just one step forward, one step back, one step forward. You get what I'm saying? We've got two keys for a reason. But anyway, to get more back onto the main point of tonight's stream, some people do think of recovery backwards, right? They think it's a mental solving, and really, that's not even the language that the brain speaks, that anxiety speaks. So you've got to drop the mental solving, because that's just going to piss your amygdala off. It's going to stress you out, right? Worry equals danger. And you've got to focus more on positive behavior. So you've got your focus. You might have your focus in the wrong direction. And the point of tonight's stream is to get people to kind of open their eyes and say, hey, ask yourself that question. Do I have my focus in the wrong direction? Do I have this thing backwards? If so, that's okay. That's a great realization to make, because that now means that we can make changes, right? So congratulations. But anyway, guys, that was a mouthful, but that was also the point of tonight's stream. If you did enjoy it, please leave a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. We're going to hang out with chat for a little bit now, read some comments, all that good stuff. Remember, guys, ask yourself that question. What do I do today when I'm extremely anxious? Start speaking the brain's language. Positive behavior. Leave the mental stuff alone. Stop the mental stuff. Stop the problem solving, the fight. Replace that with an accepting statement and focus on those positive behaviors. You might have your recovery backwards, but that's okay. Maybe tonight helped you realize whether or not you do, right? Maybe tonight helped you realize whether or not you do have it backwards. And if you made that realization, great. We can now work on it, all right? We're going to hang out with chat. We're going to read some comments, answer some questions. I'm going to go ahead and get some music going, and then we'll get into those comments. We've got the Halloween theme music, or at least that's what the playlist says. I don't know. This don't sound like Halloween music to me, but we'll just go with it. Preacher, what a bro. Hope you're doing awesome, Lincoln. I'm going to call you Lincoln for a while, dude. It's going to take me some time to get used to that. Hey, Wonder Bro, what if we keep suspecting if what we experience is anxiety or not, especially at a level where we recovered from chronic anxiety at one point and not severely sensitized? You know that answer will remain the same, right? You know that answer will remain the same. If you keep suspecting, that's basically just a disguise. That's basically just a term that means I keep doing mental stuff. I keep doing mental worry. I keep doing mental arguing. I keep doing mental obsession. At some point, there will come a point where you have to start using that accepting inner voice instead of all the mental stuff, right? Because again, like we talked about tonight, all that mental stuff is accomplishing is pissing the nerves off. Worry equals danger. So the more worry you do, the more in danger your nerves think, your brain thinks that you are. So let's say in your example, you are doing the positive behaviors. You have productive days. You have full days, right? You're staying active. All this good stuff that's going to tell the brain there is no tiger. But you're still doing the mental stuff on top of that. You're going to be taking one step forward and then one step back. So you're kind of going to be like in the door, out the door, in the door, and you're going to get like in this tug of war. So if you want to finish off your recovery, so to speak, keep up the positive behaviors. But we do have to drop the mental stuff eventually. And why? Why would you want to do that? Because you know that worry equals danger. So if you ever want to get to the point where you can see for yourself that this is anxiety, then you're going to have to prove it to yourself, right? That's the biggest proof that you can get. That's the biggest piece of proof that you can get, is seeing for yourself that when you stop the mental stuff and you just keep the positive behaviors, you start to feel so much better. And once you see that, you'll get some confidence and motivation and momentum in your direction, right? But we can't get there until we at least try it for a little bit. At least try it for a little bit, right? It comes down to what do you have to lose? What do you have to lose sort of thing. So true. How can we stop fixating on the remaining feelings, especially in doubt? Sorry for multiple questions. Don't apologize. How can we stop fixating on the remaining feelings? Again, it's going to come down to speak the language of the brain, right? So if you notice that remaining feelings are in your awareness, it's okay if they're in your awareness, but at the same time, don't have this inner dialogue where you're fighting and arguing with them. If they're in your awareness, okay, but have the accepting inner voice instead of the arguing inner voice, and then get right back to positive behaviors. I'm getting a little tongue-tied, but I hope that makes sense. If they're there, they're there. That's fine, as long as you're not trying to mentally solve, right, which is everything like fighting, obsessing, and rumination, and, all that good stuff. Instead of trying to mentally solve when they're in your awareness, just have that accepting inner voice and go do a positive behavior. When you feel your worst is when you should go do a positive behavior, right? I mean, you should be doing these positive behaviors regardless, but you get my point. Anxiety learns while anxiety is turned on. All right, you guys, I'm going to grab me a quick drink. We've got some good questions already tonight. I'm happy with the point of the stream. We're going to continue to hang out, talk to you guys, but if you've got questions, send them in. I'm going to get a drink, and I will be right back. All right, we're back. We're back. What is everybody up to? How are you guys doing? True, kind of realizing what's the point of even solving. Thanks for answering. Yeah, I mean, the what's the point of even solving is a good realization to come to. Not just because that's a positive statement or that's uplifting, or no, because there's actually evidence that supports that. Like, what's the point of even trying to solve? Well, yeah, that's true. What is the point? Because when we look at how the brain operates, we start to realize things like the amygdala doesn't listen to logic, it doesn't listen to your intelligence. That's why you can't reason away an obsessive thought. That's why when you try to reason away an obsessive thought, the thought just gets stronger. Because what you can do is you can stress it out by trying to fight with it like that, but you can't reason it away. It doesn't listen to your logic. It just listens to positive behavior. Act like there's a tiger and I'll think there's a tiger. Act like there's not a tiger with the way that you carry yourself, the way that you behave, the way that you speak, the things that you do, and then I'll start to believe that there's not a tiger, right? So, yeah, I mean, coming to the realization that what's the point of trying to mentally solve, again, is it's not just a positive statement. There's so much truth behind that. There's just so much truth behind that when you really start to understand how the brain operates. So you got to come to that realization. You got to come to that realization at some point, right? So that you can get away from all the mental stuff, the arguing and the fighting and the obsession, and you can start to use that accepting inner voice instead. And those thoughts and feelings will still be there for a little bit, but you get away from you get away from the mental problem solving, and you step into the positive behaviors, because that's the brain, that's the brain's language. How you conduct yourself, how you carry yourself. You're triggered and you feel horrible, but you get up and have a full productive anyway, and you do it with a smile, right? Go at your own pace. But you get my point. You get my point there. People got it backwards. That's the whole point of tonight's stream. They got it backwards. They're trying to do mental problem solving. That's just upsetting the brain. That's all that's doing. It's not listening to your logic. It's why you can't reason away an intrusive thought, right? So they're trying to do all the mental fighting, and they're not doing any of the positive behaviors. They're just doing the bare minimum, dragging themselves from work to back, and that's it. And then it's back to Google, or it's back to doing, again, the bare minimum. So, excellent comment. Excellent comment. I love it. Dark Mode, what's up? What a good point to come in on. What's up, dude? I remember you, man. I bragged on you and your choice of name, because who doesn't love Dark Mode, right? Right? How have you been, Dark Mode? How have you been? If you guys got any questions, now is the time to ask them. We're at the point of the stream where we take questions. So get them in, get them in. I'm going to turn the music down just a little bit, because that song got really loud all of a sudden. Really loud all of a sudden. Kate says, remember yesterday when I wanted to worry my thing today was going to be shit? Yeah, it turned out to be shit. But, we've got a but. But on the plus side, I didn't stress my nerves out in between. So you tried something. Wasn't sure if it would work out for you, and it did turn out to be as you put it, shit. But that's okay, because you handled it the correct way, right? You went about it the correct way. So that's all that matters. That's all that matters. So what if said thing didn't work out? You went about it the right way, and that's all your brain cares about. So good job, Kate. Good job. I might have to move everything over the whole monitor so that I don't block my sign back here. I'm doing, man, just hanging out, making moves, and having fun. I love to hear it, dude. That's recovery. That's recovery in a nutshell. There's no mental work to be done. Drop all that, accepting inner voice, and do what you just said. Hang out, make moves, have fun. Exactly, and everything is okay. You got it, Kate. You got it. It's all about how you handle the situations, right? It's not so much you try something new and it doesn't go your way. Okay, that's fine. It's all about how you handle it. It's how you carry yourself and behave and conduct yourself, even if said thing didn't go according to plan. That's fine. The brain is still going to make progress, right? I'm doing good, by the way, Dark Mode. Thanks for asking, dude. I appreciate it. Thank you. JB, what's up, JB? Hope you're having a good night. Hi, One Row. What about people that are like hypochondriacs? So that's people that just overthink every little symptom. Overthink. It's mostly, I guess you could say, it falls into the realm of health anxiety, right? So basically, that's just a really long, unnecessary term for health anxiety, and the advice remains the same, JB. Don't confuse yourself. When it comes to these thoughts and feelings, we leave them alone. We understand that there's nothing to mentally do. That's just going to stress yourself out, your nerves and your brain, more importantly, just going to stress those things out even further. So there's nothing to mentally do with these thoughts and feelings. The accepting inner voice, get up and have a productive day. As Dark Mode just said, make some moves, have fun, hang out, all that good stuff. So yeah, I'm a hypochondriac is just a fancy term for a very long, unnecessary fancy term for I just have a little bit of health anxiety, right? And it's treated the same. That's the good news. It's treated the same. There's no theme. There's no theme of thoughts or symptoms that we treat differently when it comes to anxiety. The brain is still going to learn the same for everyone, which is show me that there's no tiger with the way that you carry yourself and what you do during the day, and I'll believe that. Or continue things like coping methods, compulsions, being very defeated, spending a lot of time in bed and on the couch and doing the bare minimum. Keep doing that while you're triggered, and I'm going to think you're hiding from a tiger, and I'm going to keep your anxiety levels nice and high for you, right? So get away from trying to mentally solve this thing and get into what works, which is positive behavior, right? Man, start a list, dude. Whatever that first step is, man, just do it. Start a list. Get some things done that you want to get done, right? All right, guys, give me just a second. We've got my headset dying here. We can't let that happen. Biggest thing for me was stay away from Google. That should be everyone's number one priority, right? Everyone's number one priority at some point should be to stay away from Google. Why isn't it charging? What is going on, man? I think it's almost time for me to buy me a new charger. I think everyone, though, at some point begins on Google, right? Everyone at some point begins on Google. I mean, that's probably how you found the channel, so I guess it served its purpose. But once it's served its purpose, then it's time to just get away from it. It's time to just get away from it. I used to be quite the fan, quite the fan of Dr. Google, and I can honestly say it did me absolutely no favors. All the things that I thought I had, I turned out to not have, and all the things I was worried about happening turned out to not happen. And this is coming from someone who is absolutely just bedridden with this stuff at one point, just in a really negative state. So take it from me. I know it's very tempting to jump on good old Dr. Google, but I've never seen any positives or benefits come from that. Like, unless you used it to stumble across this channel, or I used it and eventually stumbled across Dr. Claire Weeks. But once you do that, right, then it's served its purpose. It has served its purpose, and it's time to just get away from it at that point. Get away from it, man. I know it's tempting. It can be a really strong habit for some people. Habits aren't the easiest thing in the world to break. I get that, but it's not serving you, right? That's the point. It's not serving you whatsoever. Sanchez, my boy with the pumpkins. The pumpkin spam. Ugh. I thought I was getting sick earlier, but I feel a little bit better now. Googly. I said googly. I was thinking of googly eyes because of the pumpkins. Google, or we can call it googly, definitely has diminishing returns that can make things 100 times worse. You're absolutely right, Corey. You're absolutely correct. I love the ghosts, man. It's that time of year, my boy. My boy is thriving right now. Sanchez lives for Halloween. You know, I found the most relief when I made a vision board, stopped listening to all that negative self-talk, and just did what I saw on the board. Yeah, just like a to-do list, right? Like some sort of motivating, encouraging to-do list where you're focused on positive behavior now, and you're away from all the the mental trying to figure out, the mental solving. I said mentally. Mentaling is what I said. I'm saying all sorts of weird words that don't exist tonight, apparently. Skulls and pumpkins and ghosts, they've got me all distracted. I cut the Google habit a year ago and it's helped me out big time. Yeah, like that's one of the first things really that need to be done when someone decides that they're going to dedicate to these two keys. One of the first decisions that they really need to make is getting rid of the Google habit. That's like number one priority. Number one priority. Like we could do these two keys, right? We can work on not getting involved in the mental stuff, just having that accepting inner voice instead, and getting up and having productive days, positive days with those behaviors. We can do that stuff, and we should. But let's get you to cut out the Google first. First and foremost, let's close out the Google tabs, right? First and foremost. I feel like that's a lot of people's problem, you know? Sanchez! Hey, Sanchez! My man. Thank you so much, dude, for the $20 tip. Can we get some purple hearts in the chat for my boy Sanchez? Thank you so much, dude. Our first tip of the night. Thank you. We're on a 213-day streak, guys, which is just absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Thank you so much, Mr. Sanchez. I appreciate you, dude. Thank you for making it rain. We all love to see Gary up there, so thank you, dude. Let's get some purple hearts in the chat. Like Google was responsible for 95, probably 100% of my rabbit holes, right? It was responsible for like 100% of mine at first. And then over time, I started jumping in them all on my own. But anyway, the point still remains that, yes, Google is horrible. Thank you, Kate, for the purple hearts and the stars. Sanchez with the spiders. I could do without the spiders, but I will accept them. I will accept them. Yeah, Google and the phone habit in general, once you're aware of your surroundings, you really start to heal. Getting back into life, right? Like, really, that's what that comes down to. Getting back into life. Thank you again, my boy Sanchez, for the $20 tip, dude. We are 30 away from tip goal. Thank you so much, man. 213-day streak. If you'd like to support the stream, the link is in the description if you want to see Gary pop up on the screen. Joyce, thank you so much for the purple hearts. I appreciate you. Hope you're having a wonderful night, Joyce. JB, thank you for the purple hearts. God, so many people can recover from hypochondria or health anxiety, because my problem is I went to the doc months ago. Then when I feel something, I feel the urge to... Yeah. So basically what you're saying is I feel the urge to get lost in mental rabbit holes, as Kate said. What's a rabbit hole? It's obsession and fighting. There's nothing to mentally solve. That's not the language that the brain speaks. If you want to feel better, you must speak the language of the brain. So drop the mental stuff, because that's not the language it speaks, and get into the positive behaviors. When you want to get into the mental stuff, just have that accepting inner voice, you know. Sanchez's example was fuck it, right? Donkey! Hey! There's Gary. That's what we call him, right? Thank you so much, Donkey, for the $5 tip. Says, Is the new half of the roof keeping you dry so far? Yes, the new half of the roof is doing fantastic. Thank you so much, Donkey, for the $5 tip, man. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you. We are 25 away. We are only 25 away from our tip goal. Thank you guys so much. I love you. Spam the purple hearts. JB, thank you for the purple hearts. Joyce Sanchez, thank you for the bats. Now, I do love bats. I can handle the bats. I can handle the bats. Kate says, I have a spider that lives in my bathroom, a big wolf spider. We are pretty good pals. No, thank you. No, thank you. I'll tell you what, though. I was proud of myself because I did allow a very small spider to live in my closet, which normally I wouldn't do. But he wasn't so bad. He wasn't so bad. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to let him hang out. I'm going to let him hang out because I need to face this thing. But I'll be honest. I'll be completely honest. If it was a big wolf spider, I wouldn't have been able to do that. Nah, he would have had to been taken out. He would have had to been taken out. So props to you, Kate, for facing the wolf spider. I probably wouldn't have made that decision. So props to you on that. Hey, see, we've all got fears, dude. We've all got fears, right? That's part of being a human being. Joyce, thank you again for the purple hearts. Sanchez, thank you for the purple hearts. Donkey, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you, man. Sanchez and Donkey, thank you, guys. We are only 25 away from the tip goal. If you have questions, man, if you have questions, get them in. There's no such thing as a stupid question. If you have a burning question, please ask it, and I will do my very best to help you out, right? Don't let a question stop you from getting started. Get your questions out, get them answered. That way, when this stream is over, you can get into those positive behaviors and have a good, positive behavioral night. Stand up tall, speak up, right? Be productive, be active, show that brain, hey, look at me. There is no tiger here. Look at how I'm acting, right? Start to speak the language of the brain, which is behavior, and leave the mental stuff alone. That is the two main keys. That is the two main keys, right? Darkmo says, I started this one habit during spring and have kept it going all through summer, and doing that outdoors was my favorite. Now it's getting cold and I'm not sure I can continue. I may end up frozen eventually. Yeah, so you've got some outdoor activities you've been enjoying, but it has been getting cold, so yeah, you might have to slow down and find something to do inside where it's nice and warm. I have a question. What's up, Kate? Kate with a question, all right? How long does it take to recover? I wasn't sure what you were going to ask, but I didn't see that coming. So for anyone who's wondering why I'm just blatantly laughing at Kate's question, she knows why. She knows why. It's because that's the unanswerable question. That is the forbidden question. The forbidden question. The forbidden question. A question that will keep you stuck within itself. Ironic, isn't it? Ironic. This is supposed to be Halloween themed music. Lo-fi Halloween music, but this doesn't sound like Halloween to me. Nothing about this sounds Halloweeny. So we're gonna try a new playlist. Nah. This is a fraud. I've heard all of these beats before from just regular playlists. Somebody just took these and called it a Happy Halloween playlist. This is a fraud. JB, thank you for the purple hearts, dude. appreciate all the love and support. I have a question, Wonder Bro. What is the meaning of life, the universe, and everything? In my opinion, it is to be alive. It is to be alive and to not fight against the experience of being alive, right? The meaning of life is to live it. Is to live it. So get up. It's an experience. An experience that you experience. Let's see. Is easy. It is what it is. There you go. Dark mode. Pretty similar to my answer. Sanchez says, "What, bro? You ready for the new Halloween movie?" I am so ready, dude. I am so ready. It's probably the last time that we're ever going to see Jamie Lee Curtis on screen again with Michael Myers. So that should be interesting. All right, guys, give me just a second. Last year you played some real Halloween music? I did, and I can't find it now. We just jump right back into it. Let's see. I usually try to have the playlist picked out before I even go live, but we'll try this one. That sounds a little bit more Halloween-y. Halloween-y's my new favorite word now. Unbelievable. I had one question, couldn't even answer it. I need it down to the day, minute, hour, and second. Down to the millisecond. Right? The only person to ever bring fear into my life, Michael Myers, like how he does always get to his destination so quickly. Which is like it's a pretty common reoccurring theme with horror movies. If you haven't seen any other horror movies, you would be just as frightened. If that's what frightens you, you would be just as frightened by some of the other villains. Because they seem to all have that same trait. They seem to all have that same trait where no matter how fast you're running, they almost can teleport. I love Jason, dude. I love Jason. I have to disagree with you on that one. Jason's one of my favorites. He used to be my absolute favorite when I was younger, but then Michael Myers came along and he's kind of a little bit more near the top now. So I don't know why I switched up on my boy Jason like that, but I did. Alright guys, we're going to be live for about 10-15 more minutes, so if you've got any questions, get them in. Just so you know, Sanchez, it's a Sprite, no Mountain Dew. I'm not allowed to have Mountain Dew anymore. Hurts my stomach too much. Jason versus Michael Myers in a fight, who would win? Oof. Now that's a question. That is a question. I don't know. I have to go with Jason. All right, I have to go with Jason. And the only reason I'm going with Jason, and I'm basing that answer off the fact that Jason has been to literal hell in one literal hell in one movie and came back. He's been blown to smithereens, like into individual pieces, and somehow came back and got glued back together. Jason's been through some shit, and it seems to have never stopped him. So that's what I'm basing my answer off of. Not that Michael Myers hasn't been through some crap. He's definitely been through some shit himself, but I think Jason's been through a little bit more. A little bit more. We will never see a Jason versus Michael Myers movie. I don't think that'll ever happen. But it could be interesting. I wish they would have finished Freddy versus Jason. They left that completely unfinished. I mean, Jason cuts Freddy's head off, and then he's walking out of the water, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. But then Freddy's not dead, but he is dead, but he's not dead. I don't know. I should have said spoiler alert, but that movie came out in, like, 2003. If you haven't seen it yet, you probably didn't plan on it. So... they're both equally scary. I'll say that. Didn't he go to space? Yeah, in one movie he went to space. Jason X, I believe. I mean, come on, dude. That's a little outrageous. It's just a tad outrageous, don't you think? I'll be honest, I haven't sat through every Friday the 13th movie that's out there because there's just too many of them. There's just too many of them. I just watched Devil in Ohio and the ending was not satisfying. I don't even think I've heard of that one. I'm gonna have to scroll through the horror category on Netflix and see what I'm missing out on. I'm sure there's a ton of horror movies out there that I haven't seen yet. Or I know there is. Did you hear Tom Cruise is getting ready to go to space for his next movie? He'll be the first civilian who goes on a spacewalk? What? What exactly does a spacewalk consist of? He's going to actual space for a movie? Yeah, they kind of left the storyline for a bit there. Yeah. Freddy versus Jason just did not have any sort of closure. There was just no closure whatsoever in that movie. And it was really disappointing as somebody who was very much interested in seeing who was going to come out on top in that movie, being a big fan of horror. It was very disappointing to realize that there was really no answer on who would win. That's why you go and watch Freddy versus Jason, right? Because you want to know who's going to win. But there was no answer. There was no answer. And there never has been. So, awesome. Great. Fantastic. Going in a spacesuit and leaving the space station? What like an astronaut floating around? That's happened before, right? I don't know. I'm pretty sure astronauts have floated around in space in their big suits, right? Not a civilian. Okay, got you. All right, we had to get specific there. Not a civilian. That's the loophole. Would he be considered a civilian, though, after all that training? That's a good question, Dark. I don't know. I don't watch a whole lot of movies, so every now and then a movie will come out that I'm really interested in. But other than that, I don't make it a point to watch a whole lot of movies. Like I did watch the Dahmer Netflix original. I did watch that all the way through just because I'm interested in. I've always been interested in true crime and stuff like that. Like I know, clearly it's a reenactment, obviously, but yeah, that's true. It's like, what do you expect? It's Tom Cruise, right? Of course he's going to. Of course he's going to sign up for that. He doesn't. He doesn't even have to think about it. It's Tom Cruise, right? Good Wonder Bro up there. Imagine Wonder Bro in space. LOL, you could do a live stream from space. I'd have to have some hella good connection. Hella good Wi-Fi. Do they have good Wi-Fi in space? I'm sure they've got state-of-the-art Wi-Fi, right? In one of those space stations. The space station, right? Tom Cruise is an alien. I believe that's an actual theory. Or was it a theory that Tom Cruise is one of those, what do they call them? I don't even know what they call them. Lizard people or whatever. Whether that's true or not, I don't think we'll ever find out. NASA would hook you up. What an interesting turn of events in tonight's stream. All right, guys. All right. If you have any anxiety questions, feel free to tune in, right, and butt into our little conversation we're having here. That's fine. But we're going to continue talking about aliens until we do get some anxiety questions. No problem. Scientologist, yep. Jay, thank you for the $10 Cash App, which you sent 10 minutes ago, and I totally did not notice. I am so freaking sorry, dude. If you're still in here, please accept my apology. If my phone's on vibrate and you use the Cash App, I don't always, look directly at it. I am so sorry. But we did get a $10 tip from JJ. Thank you so much, dude. Thank you. I hope you're still in here. But regardless, let's get some Purple Hearts in the chat. I hate it when that happens. I always feel so bad when that happens. Let me make sure I didn't miss any more. I should probably do that. Alright, I think we're okay. I'm sorry, Jay. I apologize, dude. Sanchez, thank you. Kate, thank you for the Purple Hearts. What if he's a lizard alien? I never contemplated that. But it's worth looking into. JB, thank you for the Purple Hearts. Yeah, now this playlist is actually Halloween themed for once. can't kill you, but what about stress? Because, of course, most people who have panic disorder have stress 24/7. What about if stress can just kill you in general? I don't think it's that general, right? I don't think it's that general. I think there is a certain amount of healthy amount of stress, and there's a certain amount of unhealthy amount of stress. But with that being said, we could contemplate the effects of stress and what it does to you, and if that has any long-term or short-term effects. We could contemplate that all day long, but that sounds very stressful, right? Right? So I think it would be better left alone. I think it would be better left alone because you can find a ton of results for that, and you know, if you go looking hard enough, you are going to find a ton of results for that. But then again, some people it affects differently. Other people it affects this way. You know. But then I know people that have had panic for a long time and lived like 80. Exactly, because everybody's different. And you're not going to find one definite answer on what the effects of stress can be for you. So you might as well just put all of your effort into recovery and focusing on these two keys instead of wondering, what is stress going to do for me, right? Because we don't have the answer to that. And it sounds very stressful to seek the answer to that. Isn't that so ironic? So I got one actually. So when you get the feeling of deja vu feeling and normally something happens, what exactly do you do about it? You're going to notice a reoccurring theme here on the channel, which is we're going to come back to. There's nothing in particular that you do about specific symptoms, which is understandable that people have that question. Is there a symptom that I treat differently than another symptom? And the answer is always going to be no. We're going to come full circle to those two keys no matter what. So when you say, do you trust it or you just keep pushing? I mean, it's a feeling of deja vu, right? I don't even think trust really comes into the equation here. It's just, who said it earlier? Was it dark mode? It might have been you. It is what it is, right? I'll post a video on the Discord of my new props. I'd love to see it, dude. Yeah, do that. I'll be looking for it. We are 15 away from our tip goal, guys. 15 away. 213-day streak. We're getting ready to end it here in just a bit. But until then, if you've got any final questions, please get them in. Please feel free to ask. I would love to try to help you out. Yeah, JB, it's kind of like the question of time frames. It's just an answer we don't have, right? Who would have thought that there does exist some questions that we don't have the answer to, and that's okay. That's okay, because we've got the two keys, so. Ears itchy. I always treated that one differently, and that was my largest downfall. Yeah, it's super easy to treat some symptoms a bit differently than others if they freak you out a little bit more than others, but we're always going to come full circle to the same advice. So the content of the irrational thoughts or the symptoms themselves are all irrelevant. I'm the person who should take his own advice every time. Yep. It happens, dude. Your playlist is scaring me. Hey, we actually have found a playlist that really does live up to its title. What do you know? Halloween playlist sounds like Halloween. It's a first. Someone call the record books. I see a bag of Cheetos across the room calling my name, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. Alright, guys, last call on the questions. We're at let me see here, 1:07 on the stream time, so we're gonna end it at about 10 after, so we're gonna leave it going for a couple minutes. Any last questions? Please get them in. Please get them in. Crunchy or puffy? What kind of person do I come off to? Do I come off to you as like crunchy or puffy? I'm curious. Like, I could just answer your question, but let's make it interesting. Why not? Crunchy, I like puffy best myself. Crunchy, dude. Crunchy all the way. All the way, all the way, all the way. Puffy is like what you'd give a kid in like a high chair. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Best friends until I found out he likes the crunchy ones. I can't help myself. They're just so much better. I mean, I'll eat the puffy ones. It's not a problem, but I have my first client being back tattooing tomorrow, so wish me luck because I'm not anxious now, but I will be then. And lo-fi will have to keep me focused. Dude, you'll get lost. You'll get lost in the moment. You won't even be thinking about it. You got this, dude. I appreciate that, David. Thank you. Kate loves her puffy Cheetos. Wonder Bros crunchy. Almost said country. I can't speak tonight. The crunch. The crunch. Puffy melts in your mouth though. Yeah, but crunchy is just like, it's satisfying. You know what I mean? You don't get that the crunch itself is satisfying. That's really the point. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. We have this whole debate now going. You're not wrong, Kate. You're not wrong. The streak looks like it's going to be ending because we are ending the stream actually right now. So it does look like it will be ending at 2:13, and that is okay. 2:13, we will make a note of that. We will make a note of that. Here, we're going to do it like this. So we'll put it out in brackets. 2:13. I don't want to write too much because then it gets too complicated. Battle between crunchy and puffy eaters. Dude, the crunch itself to me is just, that's the whole point. It's just so satisfying. Don't get me wrong, I can eat puffy. I'm not hating on puffy. I can eat puffy. Doritos is disappointing. They used to be a chip with flavor, then they shrunk the chip and put less flavor on them. Doritos baked into like hamburger meat, brown some hamburger meat, put some cheese, like a casserole with Doritos, crumbled up Doritos on top. Oh my God. Oh my God. You haven't lived until you've tried it. You haven't lived until you've tried it. All right, guys, the moment we never wanted to see happen has officially happened. What the fuck, Donkey? What the fuck? Donkey and Sanchez, what? No? Yes. What the hell? Oh my God. Jesus Christ, you guys. Jesus. I don't know what that took us to, but we're moving on to 214 day streak. All right, never mind. I was just going to casually do it, right? We didn't make a big deal out of it because it's not a big deal. I was just casually doing it, and then all of a sudden it looks like we're not ending it. Looks like we're not ending it. I didn't want to make a big deal out of it. I just wanted to say, okay, that's fine, here we go. But it turns out we're not going to be ending it today due to Sanchez and Donkey. You both had the same idea at the same time, apparently. You both had the same idea at the same time, apparently, just in the nick of time. I mean, literally, dude, we were ending the stream, and wow. Okay, I appreciate you guys so much. Let's go over those names one more time. Nobody wants to see the streak die. Sanchez, Donkey, twice from both of you guys. Rich, wait, no, that was from yesterday. Sanchez, Donkey, and Jay, I believe. I think that's the three names today. I hope I didn't leave anybody out. Double Bam, absolutely, dude. And you're not wrong. That was like, that couldn't have come down any closer. That couldn't have come down any closer. Joyce, thank you for the purple hearts. Have a great night, buddy. Thanks for the stream. Thank you for being here, Dark. Thank you. And thank you again to Jay, Donkey, and Sanchez. We have dodged a bullet with the streak. It's not over till it's over, Wonderbro. Apparently not. Apparently not. So, anyway, guys, thank you so much. We're moving on to a 214-day streak. I love you. Thank you for watching tonight's stream. Make sure you leave a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And until next time, as always, go eat some crunchy Cheetos, dude. Go eat some crunchy Cheetos, all right? That's how I want you to celebrate. Go eat some crunchy Cheetos. I love you. Stay awesome.